I used to work at the Census Bureau, and one of the best things I ever did there, one of my favorite things, was actually drawing these census tract boundaries to create for the Tiger files. That was a lot of fun and involved a lot of work with local governments and a lot of consideration of geography. Just like before, we can go ahead and filter these so that we can filter by the histogram. There are other ways to filter as well. So now, as we've got here the 1890s and 20-somethings, yes. Now, look at this. There's a certain neighborhood. What do we have here? Census tracts, block groups. Well, there's a certain neighborhood that there's over 85, and this is a combination 1890 and 20, but the percentage is very high in a couple of neighborhoods in here. It'd be interesting to find out where that was. Is that near a university campus, a community college? What exactly is going on there that brings the percentage of younger folks so high in the percentage there? So on the map. So let's take a look there. Wow, I can see right away that there might be a medical center up in that. There's UCLA, the northwest part of this map right here. That's why that spot was so high. Notice I can change the symbology if I can remind you of the guidelines that I talked about earlier in terms of cartography. There's a lot of guidelines and few rules. So feel free to adjust these things. I'm going to take off the outline and I'm going to leave the transparency alone. Let's take a look at these labels. Geographic areas might be helpful. Roads and highways, that makes it a little bit too cluttered. I'm going to turn off roads and highways for the moment, but I'm going to increase the size range. So now I really see that block group is the level of geography we're on right now. Block group up by UCLA campus is very high in terms of the higher percentage of 18 through 20-year-olds. Fascinating to be able, and remember, I've got the income still as a high and low, so the reds are higher income for that demographic now. So gosh, look at this. This is not for that demographic, for the total population of that block group. And then I'm looking at 18 to 20-year-olds in terms of the size. So it doesn't mean that the 18 to 20-year-olds are higher income in those areas. We're looking at two different variables. So again, it's important to know what you're examining and the scale, of course, as well. Now I'm going to a few points of interest. I can create a site there at USC campus. I can do the same thing for UCLA and Loyola Marymount, which I'll do in a moment. And there are other, of course, influences on the 18 to 20-year-olds being high, but that's, of course, a college campus is one of the primary ways of, or determinants of the median age being so widely variable. And there's others, of course, that we can discuss. It's all part of cultural and population geography. This is just so wonderful to be able to do this. So I'm looking at patterns, relationships, trends as I browse and pan and zoom and change scale and examine these variables. I can create infographics and other things that we might chat about here in our closing minutes. Loyola Marymount University is down in the southwest part of the city, and that is fascinating to be able to look at that. I've been on that campus, beautiful place. And let's go ahead and change that slightly, and then perhaps could create an infographic there, run a report, do some comparisons of different sites that we've established, do some rings, drive times, walk times, etc. Lots of power at your fingertips here. Yes, let's do that. Walk time, 5, 10, and 15 minutes around the campus. So that might be a determinant of where I site one of these establishments that I'm interested in. And I can take a look at the pattern. Of course, it depends on the street pattern and also the sidewalks and a couple of other variables. And let's do a point of interest search again. We could have saved this from earlier and then we'd be able to just pull it up. But let's go ahead and just type a few things in here just as an illustration. And now I've got the bars in that area. I can take a look at the locations of these, do a drive time, walk time, bicycle time, etc. for each one of these, and then determine the intersection of all those. If I want to be away from the existing competition, or maybe I want it to be, like some businesses, close to the competition. So there's choices as the students and others in the neighborhood are out and about. So that's a consideration as well. It's not just the map, it's understanding your area of interest, your variables that you're looking at, and I can save this layer if I want to, and that'll be part of my project that I can come back to later on, and I wouldn't have to recreate all of this. So as it creates the layer then, let's go ahead and talk about a few last things that we didn't get to. One of them is to draw a polygon. Let's go ahead and do that around our study area so we can save it for later. We can run reports on that polygon. Let's say this is my optimal study site for a possible location of this business, and I can create a few more and call that possible location Zone A, Zone B, Zone C, and I can label each one of these and run reports on all of these and compare the results. Indeed, infographics, lots of additional videos and tutorials on creating powerful and compelling infographics that are very insightful, that lead to wiser, smarter decisions that you can actually run here. I'm just going to, for the point of illustration, run one of these that are in the default zone. You can customize these, of course, and put graphics and all sorts of things that are dynamic that will update as you pan and zoom and change variables. But here's a brief business summary report that we ran. Okay, so that is a little bit of a summary. Let's go ahead and remind you that you can share these results. You can make a dashboard, a PDF, a web map that you can save out in ArcGIS Online. Now, you can also bring that to ArcGIS Pro. Why would you do that? You've got this powerful tool, Business Analyst Web, at your fingertips because ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Pro have more capabilities, have additional capabilities that you might want to dig deeper. You could, for example, in Pro, go to the R bridge and run the R statistics off of that. So don't think that you just have to use this tool inside of Business Analyst Web. You can actually move the data into a feature service and a variety of other data formats that you can bring to ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Pro. Hope this was helpful. Optimal business siting with Business Analyst Web. Thanks for being with me.